Commercials were interesting this year.
Holy America, bro.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was like 1988 around there. Welcome to another episode of Don Draper's Den. On this podcast, we discuss branding and marketing, how it touches so many aspects of our lives. We also talk a bunch of trash about music and food and culture and nostalgia and each other. We do hope that you're entertained. We hope you can get some insight from two marketing professionals such as ourselves. I'm Chris. This is Ernie. In this episode, we get into the Super Bowl and some nostalgia, the music that we kind of grew up listening to,
The
commercials, deep messaging at the Super Bowl, little politics, and so much more. So please like, share, subscribe, comment. We want to blow this thing up. We appreciate you guys' support. Without further ado, pour yourself a glass and let's get into this.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Bro, we might have to have a little intervention around here.
For what?
Just saying that the dishes situation is we're only to blame. It's just
us two.
It's just us now.
It's like whenever I have time to just, I gotta just take a break from everything, then I do it. But I've just been so slammed with projects and
There's stuff to do,
it's like,
and then it's late. I don't want to,
it's not bad.
I'm about to leave, and I don't want to do
But
the
it's just
dishes.
us.
It's just yeah.
Yeah.
I used to harbor, a little. I was a little salty. Like look at these people, these savages, our wonderful staff.
Yeah. Right.
The 90% of them, women, moms themselves who probably appreciate a clean dish. And there it was, just this pile of dishes. And I said to myself, why? Why have you done this to me?
Well, part of it is because I conditioned them for that because I would always clean the dishes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's kind of my thing.
That's some
because
old world stuff you're doing there?
Well, like I remember watching this, YouTube video about Japanese culture.
Yeah.
And I like watching like the day in the life of, somebody in another country. And I remember watching a day in the life of this small business owner in Japan. Right. And he got there early. He would clean the toilets and make it sure everything was pristine. Make sure everybody's desk was cleaned off. So they have a great work discipline.
I mean,
but one of the things that was referenced is, in that culture, CEOs, presidents often will clean the bathrooms. Yeah, as just a sign of humility and servitude. So
I get it.
I'm like, okay, well, good news is we have a cleaner who comes and does that at least once a week. So I'm like, well, I clean the dishes, and so I was staying on top of that for a while. Right. And so then it just kind of got conditioned for it, and then I started backing off.
Yep. Kind of fell off. It's interesting.
And it's just you, and I don't care.
No, it's just us. And it's like
humility to you.
It's like very masculine situation because in the fridge there's like half a thing of ketchup. Right. There's like a jar of like pickled eggs, some random dude stuff.
Those are my pickled eggs.
What, dude? I don't know. That's another set of
How long
intervention.
do those last?
Pickled eggs?
Yeah. It's been there for a while.
They last. This is how long in my world. This is how long they last. I walk through, the supermarket, and then I see that there's pickled eggs in a jar, and then I keep walking.
And you keep walking.
That's how long it lasts.
I love pickled eggs, dude.
Word?
We just picked up this a jar of mustard pickled eggs. Oh man, I can't wait to try that.
It just sounds like a recipe for shit in your pants, dude. I can't even.
Do you like hard-boiled eggs?
I do. I love hard. Yeah, sure.
Do you like vinegar?
I mean, I guess so.
Do you like mustard?
Don't give me this combo of stuff I like bullshit. I've heard that my whole life.
All together?
No. Because anybody who's an adult when I was a kid, they give me this whole rundown of like, well, you like this, you like that, peanut butter jelly. Listen. Peanut butter jelly goes together. I don't question it. Yeah, it's just handed down. Moses could have said that for all I know. Fine, but there's certain things. This doesn't go together. What are you doing? Like people around here with we go back to ranch.
That just goes to show it's your mind. It's in your head,
bro.
Have you ever tried pickled peanut butter sandwiches?
No, this is disgusting. This is the stupidest thing you've ever said to me, dude. Why would you ask me such a thing?
Dude, I remember my older brother when I was younger. He's like, "Hey, you want a peanut butter pickled sandwich?" I'm like, "Okay, that kind of sounds gross." He's like, don't knock it till you try it. I'm like, "Okay." So he toasted up some bread, put a nice thick layer of peanut butter, put that pickle in there. The moment I crunched right in, I was like, "This is amazing." Oh,
dude, what is going on? Is this from like your hometown?
No,
who
I don't think so.
Created such chaos?
I never asked him, actually. If it was something that he learned from somebody in college, I don't know. Because like he was probably in college or out of college, and I was still maybe like 8th grade or something like that.
Damn, bro. That just sounds fine. Maybe it's one of the. All right, you know what? Yeah, I was in Jersey, in North Jersey, and there's like this Colombian, area, this town. There's a lot of Colombians in there, and I went in there and just, for the sake of the motherland, I've never been there, right? Yeah. So I'm like, let me try something, and it was like a hot dog on a bun. I guess it was kind of like having Swedish meatballs. You know what I mean? But it was still kind of gross.
I think it depends how good the jelly is, in my opinion. The thing is, you do know, like when you eat your Italian subs or whatever you get all the time, number 3 in Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's represent.
That is a mixture of things, right? Ham, lettuce. Are
you patronizing me, dude?
Onions,
we will definitely
tomatoes.
Take it to the parking lot.
Yeah, some tomatoes.
But these are all things that they're tried and tested.
Exactly. Let's try new things. Try new things.
Gross. Why would I try? That's like, have you ever eaten like tarantula dicks and like mixed with cabbage? No, it's disgusting. Why?
Well, first of all, I've never eaten a tarantula dick. Apparently you have. So you would know it'd be disgusting. Things are mixed and matched all the time. Who's the guy who thought of putting pepperonis on a pizza?
I would
Genius, dude.
It's a very good look. It's a great look.
So,
or you know what, pineapple, like a Hawaiian,
making a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Come to find out, we have no more jelly. Oh, well, look, there's a pickle.
That's so stupid. That has nothing to do with any. If you're like, if there's no jelly,
eureka!
There's no jelly, and then you go to preserves or jams. There's a long list of. I started with jelly. I ran out of it. All right, what else we got? Some marmalade, some preserves. You get way down. I would put like a fruit by the foot on a peanut butter sandwich before I would put a pickle. What are you talking about? That's gross.
Listen, it's all about survival. What
are you talking about? It was not third world, bro. You grew up in Ohio.
Maybe it's because I came from a third world family.
It's a mentality. It was just that mentality. Yeah. Like boomers. My Uncle Bill, who was had been about 96, 97 by now, if he was still with us. But his immigrant mentality, because he was from Sicily, and like saw World War II and stuff. So his immigrant mentality was to hoard food. Yeah, now they made their own food. Like Uncle Bill made his own sauce. He made his own everything, right? And when he could, he grew it. I mean, I get that part, but you don't have to have that much, bro. There was like shelves,
but it's all like canned stuff that he made.
The vast majority was
leftovers that he froze and like, here, how are we gonna save this?
My Aunt Fran, his sister, had long since passed. We all got older. Nobody lives around him. And so it was just him. How much food can you eat? How much food can a 90-year-old man eat? But lo and behold, he had a freezer full. In the garage, he had a freezer and a fridge.
If ever it was needed, though, he was ready.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case.
Some people, stockpile munitions. Others stockpile jars of peanut butter and pickle. Okay, do you like jars, like canned stuff, by the way? Like canned sardines?
No, gross.
Vienna sausage?
No, gross.
Corned beef?
No, I don't like corned beef.
Spam?
No, ew.
Canned oysters?
No, ew. Oysters? No. Canned or fresh, I don't care. Gross.
Those are all my delicacies, dude.
What do you, ew.
I love that
Ew.
stuff.
How do you come across oysters, though? I know the oysters and
it's called
vodka.
Walking down the aisle of Aldi and seeing What is this?
Where
canned
are they
oysters
from?
This looks amazing.
Have you ever had that with the vodka? I saw that in what was that movie? Brad Pitt. Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah. That one chick. I think his first love in the movie. Yeah. Hooks him up with some oysters and vodka. I never tried it. Seems like a thing to do.
But see, the thing is, in a couple of days, I'm taking Hannah out on a nice dinner date.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a chef table experience, dining experience, at a really nice restaurant. So I'm all about eating good food and the fine dining experience.
But I am too. Yeah,
I don't mind popping open a can of Vienna sausages, smearing it on my toasted bread.
Anyways, so we got from dishes to the weird food. That's gross. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to make a personal pledge right here on the podcast. I'm not leaving dishes in there.
Okay, well, I'll help out.
We can do this.
Yeah, we're like two guys in a dorm room now. Since
very
everybody's
much
working remote.
It's
just you and I in a dorm
very
room.
regressive at this point.
We should be like making up like games and stuff in the main.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done that? Like living with roommates, you make up stupid games in the living room and shit.
Bro, if I may, Booty Booze was one. Here's what you do, in case you want to know how to. So you kids at home can play along. So you hop around on one leg, right? So it's one against one. You could do group, but it's a little tough to call. So 1v1, and then you get one leg up. My old band Phillips had invented this, and you get one leg up, and then you hop around and you kick at the other person.
Okay,
right? And in in a sporting way, but you're not out to hurt
trying
anybody.
To break someone's kneecap.
Yeah, it's not like that. Yeah. So anyway, so you kick at the other person, and whoever spills a drop first has to do whatever the punishment is. But part of it, I think, if memory serves, it was like you got to drink while they kick you in the ass while you finish your drink. Yeah, something like that.
We used to make. I lived in like a quad apartment.
Yeah,
and so we would make up all sorts of games in our living room area. It was great. Yeah. Wall ball. We had a wall ball game. I remember that game where like you had to stand. You kind of put your feet shoulder width apart, get a nice foundation, and then the other guy stand in front of you, and you guys hit each other's hands to knock them over. And like if you knock the other guy over, they lose.
That sounds like
so you're like literally
weak
like
sumo wrestling.
Constantly, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we upgraded it. You get your nice stance. Every time you're blocking.
What are you talking about? That's so stupid. No, man.
Every time you're like blocking their hand, but every time you're trying to hit the guy in the nuts, and whoever gets hit first and breaks their stance loses. I remember that game. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds a lot of fun, man.
I always wanted that.
Let's definitely play that on the streets of Lebanon. Yeah.
Guys make up the dumbest games, dude. I remember this one game we made up. This was more like in high school.
Right.
Like guys and I would have a sleepover. We would be down in the basement. We had nothing else to do. Parents would say, "Go down to the basement. That's where you're gonna have your sleepover." There's like concrete. There's like a couple rugs. That's it.
Right. Sure.
And so
cold.
One game we made, we created like a goalposts. So one guy was the keeper.
Yeah.
And so there's a guy as a keeper, and there's a guy who has to kick like penalty shots.
Right.
And so the goalkeeper had to block the shots. If he scored, and it was not like a big goal, like so
kind of harder vibes.
Yeah, it's kind of harder to score.
Yeah, gotcha.
But if the guy did score, then the goalie had to be on his knees, spread his legs out.
What? Again?
So we all had to piss in a cup. So we pissed in this like big cup.
What are you talking about?
And so we put the cup like on the other side of the corner of the room. And so if you save it like 10 times, then the goalie had a chance to knock over that cup. And then the guy who was the penalty kicker had to go and clean it up.
Those are the weirdest games I've ever heard of, man.
Oh, yeah. We took it to a whole new level.
A lot of abuse.
Yeah.
I don't know why guys do that. Girls would never do anything like that. They're playing nice. No. They have civil games. Guys are,
Girls are nasty in a different way.
They're gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like bodily functions and bodily stuff.
They attract bears. We know that from Anchorman. Right. That's 100%. Right. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Apparently, the bears in the woods right? The what is that meme? It was going around a little while ago, where women would rather go in the woods with a bear instead of a guy. So that's all fun. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody. I mean, I didn't have a dog in the fight for the Super Bowl, but everybody watches it. Everybody sees it.
Yeah. Neither did I, but I did want it to be a closer game.
That was a shellacking.
Yeah.
As they said, in unnecessary roughness.
Which is nice to see. I mean, it's nice that I like that the Eagles won. It was cool. But, like, one, I would have enjoyed if there was two different other teams that are normally in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And if whoever's in the Super Bowl, I like it to be close. Unless, of course, it's my team. Then I want them just to slaughter the other team.
I don't know. If you're like doing things that are like once in a lifetime, passes or I don't know, things like that, right? Then I'm like, oh wow, man, you're really like, you're pulling like a Demetrius Johnson, right? One of the greatest MMA fighters. You know what I mean? And you see him do things, and you're like, that's a video game. Yeah, that doesn't even make sense. So, and Mike Tyson, and things like that, where you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see what they're gonna do, right? So. I honestly don't quite know enough about football to know. I mean, aside from like some super long pass,
right,
or something kind of obvious, I wouldn't know a good play from a bad one, or they're doing the such and such play. Like I don't know.
But that's like anything, right? Yeah. The more you know and become a connoisseur of whatever,
the more you can
appreciate like the nuances.
Yeah.
Like Wesley with his wine, like he loves wine.
God, he
so
really
he
knows
every.
Man. Yeah.
I think Wesley's one of our graphic designers.
Shout out, awesome designer.
And he knows every like ins and outs of the wine, and he's getting certified for it. But like,
what a nerd! Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, but like me, like football, like you could appreciate every little thing, like from the blocking or the opening lanes, and but still, at the end of the day, you want the drama. Football is saying you want the drama. Oh, the ref called a lame call. They changed the whole game.
There's no shortage of drama too, man. Like leading up to it, like I very much on the periphery. I was like, Kansas City accused of cheating. What? Right. And the whole, I want them to be in it, but then if they lose, they still are in it, and da 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 da. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. People like that.
What are you talking about? I still don't understand. Don't explain it. But anyway, so the game, it was fine. I prefer a little closer game, but whatever. Kansas City. Oh well. Of course commercials, right? I was watching them. I guess I'm a little bit biased towards commercials in the marketing game here. So
commercials were interesting this year.
Holy America, bro!
Yeah,
like it was like 1988 around there. A lot of like I was listening for words. I was like, how many times, not that I counted, but like how many times they say unity, unifying, family. Maybe they didn't say values as in family values, but like things like hometown and all this kind of stuff, right? And then healing was another word, right? And I found it very, very, very interesting. I didn't have I guess over the past so many years, you'd have thought it would be like a red Republican kind of thing to be like, yay, America. And I don't know that the left and blue side of the thing has been quite that lately. And I also don't know who, I don't know anything about whether the commercials were coming from the left or the right or if it mattered. To be honest, I don't think it mattered. But it was, maybe I was kind of like, pleasantly surprised, I guess, by all the yay America stuff, right? Because I'm, happy to live here. And I did get the impression, and this is obscure as a political moment, but I'll try. Do you happen to remember when Al Gore was running for president? I believe it was Al Gore. And he kissed his wife, say, at the podium, right, on stage anyway. His opponent, I believe, would have been George Bush. And he's like, I love my wife too, and like made it real awkward. Okay, that's what watching the Super Bowl commercials and the whole vibe. That's kind of what it put me in mind of politically, because I mean, you couldn't help but like, this is like the first event post-election and everything. Yeah. And so That was the vibe. And I sure do hope, I'm optimistic that, like, I hope it heals something, man, because, like, America's been beat up for too long with, all this divisiveness. So, like, cool. I hope everybody's like, yeah, let's just have a beer, man. Like, eat some chicken wings,
Yeah, it was interesting.
And the commercials supported that. It was all about that.
I think it made it less fun for me to watch the commercials. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, okay, this is cool. I'm all about patriotism. I love this country, but
but
it's kind of like, okay, I kind of watch the commercials because I want to laugh or I want to, something really memorable.
There's kind of that too.
It had that Olympic vibe.
Yes.
Very emotional, inspiring, thought-provoking, type of feel. I mean, there was a couple funny commercials, but overall, and obviously it had to have been because right after elections and all that. But yeah, it didn't. And then from there, you go from that to the halftime show, which was very like, a lot of symbolisms. There's a lot of depth in this,
a lot of depth.
I didn't, and I would probably, I could speak for a majority of the male population who enjoys watching Super Bowl. Like, we don't want to sit there and think too much. We want to be entertained. We want the laughter. Yeah. We're sitting there eating, wings and chips and stuff. This is a party.
Yeah, just show me like a funny horse commercial and we're good. Yeah.
And then if you had a party, in the past at least, I could recall whenever I had parties, we would almost like play, watch the commercials and everybody, even the women, would stop and go, "Oh, the commercial's on."
Yeah.
And that was like part of the entertainment, especially if you didn't really enjoy football. Right. You enjoyed the party and the food. Yeah. You'd stop to watch the commercials. And this time it would have been like, okay, am I supposed to cry?
Yeah, we're a little too deep on this,
this
right?
Is really deep.
Yep.
Yeah. So, the commercials were great, but the setting, I thought, like, I don't know. I just want this to be a fun time.
So, that's
like,
funny.
I could think of that one Snoop Dogg commercial with Tom Brady where, like, they're talking about hatred and racism, and Snoop Dogg is like, I can't believe we actually have to make a commercial about this.
Right.
Right. I'm like, yeah, and I can't believe you're actually
I can't
playing
believe either, dude.
Like, I just want to watch the game.
Just talk about wings, man. Yeah, I
mean, I get it. I'm not opposed to it, but it's just
no. Man, I support the message, but I don't need it right then and there. Like, here's what you're making me think of is when you get up on stage, you just won your Grammy, your Oscar, what have you, and you start going in like anybody gives a hot shit about your opinion. You're a multimillionaire. Yeah. You live in the hills, and God bless you. I'm glad you made it.
Yeah,
I dig your tunes, man. I love that movie. Yeah. Great character.
It's like Leonardo,
but I don't really care.
Yeah, it's like Leonardo DiCaprio winning an award or something. He's up there and he's talking about the global warming and
ain't the time, bro.
Glaciers melting and stuff. I'm like, just entertain me. Like, that's what you are.
And you're not that freaking important, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just act. Like, get over it. I mean,
you're an amazing actor.
Right.
That's what I watch you for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so the commercials were good, high quality, definitely a lot more emotional and inspirational.
Yeah.
Had that
ChatGPT was like way out there. You know what I mean? I very much like leading up to and in and around the Super Bowl was like the AI, with the big money they dropped into it government-wise, but just AI vibes. It's like, it's arrived, right? If you didn't know, now you know, right?
I'm actually struggling to think of any funny commercials. Do you remember?
Nothing really stood out for me, man. Honestly, like there wasn't. Usually, there's like one or two the day after, where I like, you watch it again. I mean, you can do that now with YouTube, right? But what more so stood out was who was it? I think it was Brad Pitt. Had his like "Yay America" commercial, and it was long. Yeah, it was like 5 minutes long.
You're talking about in the beginning?
In the very beginning,
it was like kind of opening up the whole.
Yeah. So there was just a lot of that, man. I mean, again, like I can dig it, but I need like this much of it.
Do you think though that like now I guess maybe we're going into a realm that's really not our expertise, but in the area of politics, majority of the country voted one way.
Yeah.
And yet these entertainers are kind of talking from their perspective, which there's a very good chance I would say that they were probably in the minority of voting for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And so, like, part of me, when you're hearing this unity and stuff, I'm like, well, speak to your camp, because, like, the majority is all who voted in the direction. We're all unified here.
Yeah.
It's really your camp that needs to figure your shit out. I don't know. That's kind of how I took it. Like, I'm fine. Life's good.
Everything seems okay here.
But apparently you guys aren't. And just get your shit together and learn that there's a whole majority of people who don't agree with you.
Right.
And how about you not cause segregation, division.
Right.
As though it's really divided in half, and it's not.
Not even close.
It's not even close.
Yeah, and we've
right.
Talked
so that's kind of how I was saying. Like, it's not even like a nation divided in half. No, it's like like 90-10.
And it's not like
you're the minority.
It's 90 and then 5 and 5. Right. There's extreme right and extreme left.
Right.
And I think the vast majority of Americans are like on our same tip. We're like, dude, just give me the wings.
Just get right.
Stop being an asshole when you get the Grammy. I don't care. Eggs are still expensive. My life is tough, and I got things to figure out, right? And like, you guys need to figure it out. And I've said it before, jokingly, but the extreme right and extreme left, I always picture there's got to be an SNL bit coming or something like that. But I picture that their extremes lead them to the same place, right? Yeah. So it's like purple hair, Birkenstock, San Francisco, Portland. They're like, to hell with society, patriarchy, and so forth, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then they go into the woods. And then like a bunch of, white nationalist types or whatever, right wings, right? They're the same. They're like, oh man, this is too left and da-da-da-da-da. We're going into the woods. Yeah. And then they like run into each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're just like, hey, oh, you guys didn't like society either? There's only like 50 of us. Shit, Anyways, so outside of the politics,
it reminds me one more political thing.
Yeah,
but it reminds me of that how I guess those white supremacist guys down in downtown Cincinnati put their masks on, but very cowardly. Right. How cowardly is that,
dude? If you're gonna say some wild stuff, go ahead, show your face. I'll at least give you the respect. Like, you got balls, dude. That's stupid though.
But they put masks on. It's like, dude, what cowards? But yet they're represented. They have the swastika flag. Yeah. But what got me was like, so these guys are there, and then all of a sudden, on my Facebook feed, I hear people who are more on the liberal, just saying, see, it's all, I blame all of you guys who voted. This is what you're putting the kind of culture you're putting my kid through is right here. I'm like, well, first of all, time out. These people always existed.
They're like a ugly little tail in our evolution.
And maybe we didn't see them carrying flags, but we still don't see their face.
Right.
They work at the bank. They've always been here. Right. And secondly, like, no, you don't lump me up with them. I don't agree at all with anything with them. And they've been around forever. They're not going away.
Just, yeah.
So this whole unity thing, I think, like, you guys got to kind of figure your stuff out. I love people. Like, I love them too, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't like the swastika white supremacists.
It's goofy. It's Henry Rollins has a great couple bits about that, but it's just he said that phrase. He says it's like this ugly primordial tale of humanity. This kind of racism on that level, like codified racism, right? And it just, I'm still surprised even now. I was surprised at 20 years old that like, oh, people are still doing that. But then as I go on, like every couple of years, I'm like reminded, like, oh yeah, they're still doing that.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like I got other shit to do, bro. Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah. Like, I don't. What bars are you hanging out at or something? Or like,
what are you doing? Like,
where are you guys hanging out? Because like, people are like that still exist, but they do, and I know that, but it's just so odd.
It's so odd, and it's like so far beyond.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, they're taking themselves so seriously that I can't, there's no room left for me to take you seriously. Yeah. So then I'm like, nice hood, man. Cool. You're still wearing the jack boots, like, with the white laces, like it's 1998, dude. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, so.
But yeah, that's kind of how I felt. It was like awesome commercials, but I just wanted to watch the game and enjoy my wings.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Heavy on the messaging. And then the halftime show. So here's what I loved about the halftime show.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, I don't know anything about Kendrick Lamar. I just don't. Right. I know he's a big deal. He's such a big deal that I know his name. I don't even know. I couldn't name a song.
Yeah.
Not a single one. Even when I listened to the whole set, I still didn't know a single song. Right. So anyway, but I check it out. And especially because of the people that co-signed on his, his rap game and all that kind of thing. I was like, damn, if that dude's saying that about Kendrick Lamar, like I should listen to this dude, right? So I did my best to kind of catch what the words were in general, just going by quick. But mostly the videography, the direction, the just coordination of the whole event. I was blown away, man. Like, how did you, you got your dance routine, camera facing, and then the cameramen were very much involved in the action. There was this huge spread. I mean, I don't know how many yards.
Like the whole field.
It was massive, right? And so it's just like T square in the middle or whatever it was. And like, not only that, like each song, as I remember, was kind of its own scene, right? And then as it zooms out, there's like each of the 4 sections that looked like controller, right? Buttons. Each one of those had people on them. Yeah. And there was like a little maze. And so, anyways, the whole execution of it blew me away, dude. I was like, this is just amazing. Yeah. How did you even get all that going, right? Yep. And I was watching, of course, with Shannon and my girlfriend were watching this, and it didn't hit her the same, but that's all I could see. So I guess from a technical standpoint, just bravo. Well done. Yeah. As far as, and Samuel L. Jackson, by way of the show of it, right? Like if you're going to have a point to kind of inject this, narrator to this performance. Great. The messaging itself was I guess there to make you think. And I found it interesting, I guess intellectually, that you'd have to decipher it after, because when, for example, when I look at Prince and his halftime show, which was fantastic. Yeah, it's raining in Miami, and he's playing Purple Rain. I mean, done, right? Yeah. Signed, sealed, delivered. You did it. But there's nothing to go back over with that. I look at this and I'm like, I'm not going to go back to watch it per se. I'm not a big fan of his music, but I might actually go back to decipher what the hell he was talking about and what the entirety of the performance was about. Yep. The subtext, the messaging. Yeah. I mean, obviously the words, the lyrics of those tunes have to do with the setting that he performed them in. The vibe was kind of militaristic and how some of the dance moves were and the way they were dressed at times. I mean, it's way deeper. So that might be the first halftime show in history to like have me go back over it. You know what I mean? And be like, what were they meaning there? Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. But I don't know. Is it the right time or not? Right platform?
Well, I figured like he was definitely on the same page as all the advertisers, in terms of, using this moment to communicate a message. Yep. But I would agree. Like if in the past, if ever I'm looking back on YouTube and want to watch a halftime show, it's for entertainment value. Like that was amazing. Yeah. I recall like a few Super Bowls ago when Eminem and 50 Cent and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar was there too. Yep. When they were playing, like we had a blast. Hannah and I, we got up and we're just like started dancing. Like, yeah, this is awesome. I enjoyed that whole from start to finish. Yeah, because they're playing classics. Classics we know, bangers. Yeah. We're just having a good time. This was not that. Right. Hannah and I were just sitting there like, I'm not sure what he's trying to communicate. Yeah, it's cool, but I don't know what he's trying to communicate. And I remember making a comment like, it's weird because like this whole time, I think I don't know anything that's been said except for be humble. Sit down.
Yeah, that's
be
actually
humble.
That was about the only thing that
Sit
I heard
down.
that I vaguely recognized.
I'm like, okay,
yeah,
that was it.
Right.
And then I remember thinking, kind of joking about that, and like a day after, I was looking through, and and people were saying that on comments, like I didn't understand anything, and like, well, why don't you stop and try to figure it out, and and so that kind of challenged me. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I guess I should do that. So I researched it. I'm like, wow, this definitely was deep. You know, like the PlayStation things.
Yeah, the way it was
that
arranged.
Was a tribute to Sony PlayStation.
Okay,
who like helps like produce or whatever Drake.
Right.
And so, and he obviously has beef with Drake, so he was kind of mocking him the whole time.
Right.
The A minor that he was wearing on he had a necklace that had a small A for a minor.
Yeah.
Damn. Again, knocking on Drake. A lot of it was about Drake and just ripping on him. He even had like Serena Williams doing a Drake dance, because I guess they used to date at one point. And so again, just constantly ripping on Drake. And the very end said game over. Like kind of like that's over. I crush you.
Right.
So I think there was a mixture of using this platform just to beef with Drake.
Damn.
But then I think obviously there was that bigger message to the country, and so it was definitely the first time I ever researched and looked into a halftime show.
Yeah.
So if that's what he wanted to do, he pulled that off for me. But entertainment wise, like I felt like go Super Bowl. Like I felt more somber after. Like
right. That's it. That's too thoughtful. Right. That's it sounds weird, but like,
I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was cool, and he did great. And I agree, the coordination, the movements, like I often marvel at like entertainers in general. Just how do you remember your words? How do you remember your place, your movements,
the stage direction,
your dance movements, and then where I'm supposed to be? I would be freaking out.
Right.
I'd be like forgetting my dance moves, my words. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to be over at the X.
I was very much blown away by that part.
But it's fascinating how music, though, in general, like I think sometimes we don't realize how much music plays a role in marketing and advertising and PR and communicating a message.
Yeah.
But could you imagine how commercials would be if we didn't have music, or if we didn't have musicians who entertained us, but also gave us a message?
I mean, but so ultimately, if I boil down the performance, right, you could look at it certainly as a protest song, right? So if you look at like the history of protest songs, from way back, this land is your land, this is my land. A lot of them, Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen. So a lot of those songs.
Gotta go really raspy on that one.
I'm not the guy. A lot of those songs are ironically co-opted by politicians who don't realize that they are protest songs, right? So if you listen to Born in the USA, that's an indictment of America failing its people through and through, right? There's a story about Vietnam and so forth and so on. It's like, okay, cool. So a Vietnam veteran is basically a forgotten man. Just like Rambo, right? Rambo is like a protest movie, right? So, it's interesting that part of the messaging is usually lost because it's just got a cool sing-along part. Born in the USA.
Yeah.
You weren't listening.
That one part, that one portion. Yeah.
You weren't listening.
Yeah.
And the way that you give a message, it's kind of like putting honey with the medicine. You know what I mean? Sugar with the medicine. It just helps it go down.
My musical debut was ended up being a disaster. The world missed out on me becoming a professional musician, singer, and entertainer.
All right.
All because of this one moment in my life.
Yeah.
So 8th grade, I'm singing. We're in like music class.
Yeah.
And we're preparing for a choir concert for all the parents to see.
Okay.
And the teacher goes, who's singing that? And we're singing "I'm Proud to Be American."
Yeah.
And here's me, little, like, and I was really shy at the time. So I was
Right.
just shy little Filipino kid. And I'm singing, dude. I love that song. I'm singing Proud to Be an American.
Sure.
And the teacher's like, hold on a second, stop. Like, who's singing that? Is that you, Ernie? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, I'm giving you a part in this in the show. You have to sing that. And I'm like, so of course I'm like, this is my big shot.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
So come now, fast forward, and we're doing the actual performance.
Right.
This is my big moment. I come down and I walk out of the choir, the choir steps or whatever.
Right.
And I go in front of the stage. And man, I'm just like ready to give it my all. Like I even to this day, I'll still sing "I'm Proud to Be an American." And I'm like eyes closed, right? Like hands, like I'm into it, dude.
You're pulling your R&B type moment. I get you.
But you know what? There was a storm outside, and it knocked the sound out, so no one could hear me.
Oh,
it was literally the mic, nothing. And then I walk up, and I rejoin the choir,
right.
And then the second verse, this girl comes out who happens to have like a very loud voice. I mean, I don't know what she's doing now, but I'd be surprised if she's not using her talent in singing. Right. But anyways, she didn't need a mic.
Right.
But then the moment she stepped at the mic, the sound came back on, and it was beautiful. Damn. And then afterwards, I was like so defeated. I go to my brother. I'm like, so how did I sound? I was like, I didn't hear a single thing you said.
Damn, like, bro.
Yep, that was it. That was it just God had other plans. Literally, He just said, no, I'm muting.
No,
I'm muting this.
Not today, bro.
That's not the direction I want you to go. And I never did it again. That was I always said, like, looking back now, like, why didn't I, join choir, like in high school or show choir? Because I love singing. I love dancing.
Yeah, you got a nice voice, too.
Yeah, but that was my moment. That was my moment of, like, I'm coming out. And it just slammed me. I got slammed down. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. Lost all confidence.
That's rough, man. Those moments are hard, man. I don't know if there's that ego death that you experience on stage. Mm-hmm. Like, I have died on stage a couple times.
Yeah.
Or just like, I can't believe this is happening. This is it. It's like shit in your pants. You know, you just don't know. Like, here it is.
Yeah.
This is it. This is me dying. Yeah, man. Yeah,
I've
those
only
are
had
tough to come back from.
A few moments where I can remember where I got messed up my chords.
Yeah.
And I'm literally playing the wrong chords.
Oh, yeah.
Like through like the whole verse. And then I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yep.
Like that could not have sounded good.
Yeah.
Or I had I have a baritone voice.
Sure.
And so I had to, especially like playing, like singing praise and worship songs. A lot of them are like sung by tenors.
Okay.
And so I'm struggling as it is singing a lot of these songs. But then like trying to hit some of the high notes. And one time my voice just cracked so bad. One of my friends in the front row was just cracking up. He and his wife were cracking up at me. I'm like, dude, I'm trying here.
Like to see you get up here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's tough to come back from, man. It's
tough.
all the respect for the Kendrick Lamars.
Right. All that to say,
like,
that's amazing.
You're amazing, bro. You can do it. I can't even. I love to play music.
Yeah.
And if there was that many people, I wouldn't even. I don't even know how to play the guitar in front of that many people. Yeah, that's crazy.
And it was so crazy. It's like I was noticing, like Kendrick Lamar wasn't even like dancing, but yet he knew his placement where he was supposed to weave in and out of dancers.
Perfect.
He knew exactly where to go. And then it's like he's not singing like easy songs. Like he's rapping.
No, they're not.
You got to know your words.
A lot of words.
He was it was amazing. Complete respect of what he was able to accomplish. Yeah. Like that's why I get really amazed when like what one year was like Jennifer Lopez, and she's like doing her dance stuff in sync. Like how do these people do this? Like
that's for them.
That was they're born for.
That's right. That's right.
When they had that first moment in 8th grade, the speakers came on, and they shined, and they knew.
Yeah, that's rough, man. I try to block those moments out, man, because it makes me, squirm in myself.
Yeah,
like,
I try to, but I'll always have those moments where I remember it.
All right, what's the win? Right, the win for the messaging with the halftime show is you put together. Not only did he diss Drake, which evidently, I guess good on you. I don't know. I don't really have any dog in that fight, but it was a protest song. delivered a heavy message that left all of us kind of like, what did he mean by it? Hold on. Let me Google that. You know what I mean? Kind of looking it up, right? So I suppose that served a purpose.
Was it a protest song? I mean, there's a lot of songs, first of all.
Where I see the protest side of it, right, was more in the narration and how it looked like it was maybe a satire version of Uncle Sam in that character kind of judging the music, right? Saying that one of the phrases was it was too ghetto.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's character,
the Uncle Sam character, which is interesting, right? Because obviously there's a pejorative there with uncle. So it was just very deep and interwoven. Where you're like, oh, this is not. It's not supposed to be 100% fun. Yeah. Right. This is supposed to make you think. So, I wonder going forward, is that done again? I wonder.
I think it all kind of depends on what's happening at the time. I think a lot of this stuff happened, especially because of election year. You know, and a lot of decisions for the advertising, the performers' decisions kind of were centered around that. I remember when Jennifer Lopez was doing that. I was watching one of her documentaries, and it was kind of like showed also the lead up to her halftime show in this documentary. And what I learned through that documentary is that like there were in her show, there were supposed to be like these cages of some sort throughout the venue, the field, right? And they're just supposed to be like kids in the cages dancing, but that was supposed to be symbolic of like, you know, the whole immigration laws and throwing kids in, you know, for separating the kids from their parents and you know, in these cages in a sense. And last minute, literally, like I think the day of, like NFL said, no, we're taking those cages out. But like I think there's certain performers who want to try to see this as a platform. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, that's a very it's a very weird little gray area, man, because on the one hand, you know, how else can an artist's wing of society, you know, that creative side, how can they spread that message? Right? It's like, well, the argument for that, it's like, well, hey man, you know, if you give me the platform, I'm going to try to get everything out of it that I can. Yeah. Which is interesting, I guess, because then it's like, well, you know, I'm going to assume that whatever message you're pushing, you firmly believe that to be the truth, right? It does then get a little weird and sticky where you're like, well, you're free to speak your mind, bro. You know, I mean, they gave you the platform. You know? Any subsequent articles and whatever that I saw that were like kind of, you know, I guess they just didn't get it. I thought that's kind of cheap. It cheapens the criticism. You know, like you didn't get it. Well, look stuff up then. Right. Look, you know, it up. If somebody pays you to write an article for whatever it is, then do some research. Right. You know, tell me specifically what you didn't like about it. Yeah. Right. And it had better get deep too. Yeah. Right. Because if this dude,
a lot of it is because that's not what they're coming to watch the halftime show for. Yeah. You know, they want to see the entertainment factor. They want to see wardrobe malfunctions.
Right. Boobs.
Right. They want to
boobs,
see that
wings,
kind of stuff.
Beer.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think that it's going to be something that's necessarily. Not only will it not be repeated in that level of depth, maybe, right? I don't think, but it's mostly because I feel like the election that led up to it is, you know, it's oddly right now, man. It's like very timely. I don't know if that sort of thing's going to happen again. Yeah. To be honest, I sure hope not. I hope it's better. Yeah. You know, everybody's happier in general. So, but I think that's why it's so unique. It's like we went through a hard time, landing in this oddly unifying moment, which I don't know how many people watched the Super Bowl in America. A shit ton of people. That's a lot. Right. So that's about one of the most unifying moments throughout the year in America, right? I mean, what else puts that many eyeballs on one thing? Nothing that I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, election stuff aside, but certainly not the Olympics. Whenever they come around. So
I think that's the one place. So that's why they all looked at this that as an opportunity. To communicate a message. I do know now that if you didn't know Kendrick Lamar then, there's a good chance you know him now. Because I was surprised by the pick at first. Like I know Kendrick Lamar, but like do other people know? Like how many people know Kendrick Lamar? I just don't know. Right? You can't go wrong with Snoop Dogg. Everybody knows Snoop Dogg and Dre and Eminem. Like even if you don't like the music, like I do know it because he has cultural impact in certain ways. Jennifer Lopez, Prince, to name a few of the past.
I mean, they're just so massively huge. Yeah. Like it's fine. Right. It's like eating Pringles, man. Like,
but then Kendrick Lamar, I think. Good on him that he took advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah.
To not only get his music known and him known and his name known, but then also to be able to share a message that's important to him.
Yeah.
And in particular to the hip hop culture.
Yeah.
To the African American culture. And I value that. Like I think that's good. We got to see that part, but
yeah.
But it definitely required a lot more research for me to truly appreciate it. Music to me in general is just so it's powerful.
It can make or break the moment, man. Me and Shannon were just watching I want to say Time Cop. It was not Time Cop. It was some bad action movie. I forget. Like Van Damme was in it or something. It was bad. Lionheart or something like that. Anyways, the soundtrack got me though.
Oh yeah?
Because it was like all stock music and stock music from the early 90s. So just because I happen to be in it, I'm like really, really like oddly familiar with like Casio keyboard sounds from that day. You know what I mean? I'm not any pro at that, but I know enough where I'm like, oh yeah, I know that sound, So I'm watching this movie, kind of half in it, just dozing off. Worst soundtrack I've ever heard. Yeah. And it was like major chords with like kind of an upbeat tempo.
Yeah.
But there's like a heavy scene, like this kid, somebody's kid had died, and I got to get the revenge for the kid. And I'm like, why does it sound like Saved by the Bell? But it looks like this horror show. Like, what's going on here?
That's why, like in those award shows, the Oscars, they have a category for just the music because it does make or break the scene or the movie in general.
Right.
The most recent series that I've watched that I could recall just thinking like the music sucked was Sons of Anarchy. I know you liked it.
Yeah.
But dude, it never really applied. I'm like, what does that song have to do with what's happening in the scene right now? Nothing.
I get it.
And like the whole time, Hannah and I are looking at each other like, what? Who is their music guy? Fire that guy.
I get it.
And like I could get after season one. Okay, season one, you're stuck with this guy,
right?
But at no point in season two did you, before starting season two, you're like, hey, let's get a new guy.
Let's get a new fella.
Like, guy who actually understands.
There's a handful. The White Buffalo was one singer, awesome singer. That came from that. I think he did The Whistler was the song he did for that series. And there's a couple other guys that like actually blew up as a result of their tunes being on that show. But it did kind of after the fact, now that last time I saw an episode, but it seems like they were pushing the music as if they had an album to sell. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Yeah.
Well, it was like last night I was up late working on a video, and the last piece was adding some of the audio. And so I'm looking at the audio library selection. And it's kind of funny, actually, because when you play it, you're like, oh, this would be hilarious if we play this song. And it's like you said, it's like the Saved by the Bell type background music. But the message is a lot more serious than that. Oh, like you can make or break it. And so often, you're spending a lot of time just finding audio because it just has to be right, or at least, according to your vision, it has to be right. What movies out there do you think like where the music helped propel that movie?
Oh my god! I think there's so many. There's so many.
Whitney Houston's The Bodyguard.
Oh, okay.
Was it in?
Yeah. But there's hits all over that, man.
Yeah.
That soundtrack, when you really boil it down, there's the Willie Nelson cover, but there's so many hits on that record that like you kind of forget, like, oh my God, that's all from that movie, bro. Like, talk about like welding together two powerhouse things, because the movie's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? Holds up. It's all right. But the soundtrack, damn.
Yeah.
That's another entertainment like effort. Like we built a pyramid effort. You know what I mean?
Eminem, 8 Mile.
Brilliant. Awesome.
Music, awesome.
So there's tons of let's say there's tons of music movies, right? Eddie and the Cruisers, Prince, Purple Rain, and actually 2 other Prince movies too. Beyond those, and then there's biopics that do it right. Sometimes they miss the mark. I think The Dirt with Motley Crue.
Yeah.
What
about Kenny Loggins and Top Gun?
And Top Gun, he's all over that. So, all right, let me get obscure though. Speaking of Van Damme, so Bloodsport, I believe the guy's name is Stan Bush, right? But he is like quintessential action 80s dude, get ready for fight kind of music. And I didn't know, and I was listening to the Jamie Josta podcast. He's the singer for Hatebreed. And he just called out. He's like, dude, Stan Bush is all over this. And then he like looked up the resume for Stan Bush because it kind of sounds like that Stallone movie and it sounds like this movie.
Yeah.
And he was the dude. And he had like 17, credits for like all kinds of movies. So when you're watching those moments, the influence of his music, it's not the same.
Yeah.
You needed that, man.
You needed it.
He was the pickle juice in the peanut butter sandwich.
Yep. Eye of the Tiger.
Brilliant.
Right?
Brilliant.
It makes up Rocky.
Yeah. It's required, right?
Eye of the Tiger. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and sometimes they like really miss the mark. Like that movie I was I was just talking about, where you could just tell they didn't have the budget. In fact, I remember I've told my kids that, because my kids would pick up on that. Like, why is the music so, crap in this movie? They don't have the money for it. They're on a budget. With that, we hope you guys were entertained. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. We appreciate the support. And with that, what's my out? I forget my out. Oh yeah, from the iconic era of advertising to the digital age. I'm Chris.
And I'm Ernie.
Keep it legendary.